KMBY.
Bum, 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 bum. All right, good morning and welcome to Community Chit Chat right here on KMBY over the air at 19.4 and on the internet at KMBYTV.com. I'm Jim Boston, V as in Victor, OSSEN. We're here every Saturday morning from 9 to 10. And hang on, because I got a guest. We will.
You're listening to.
As soon as I figure this all out.
KMBY.
All right, it's all technical. Got to do things like that. Anyway, I'd like to welcome my guest, if I may, Jason Campbell, who is a Seaside Council council member.
Yes.
What do you prefer? Do you
council member is great.
council
yes.
member? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, and good morning.
This is our first time. Now, you had been on one of my shows I used to produce a long, long time ago, the Your Town radio and television program.
Yes.
Were you on the council that time? Because that's a few years ago. How long have you been on the council?
I've been on the council a little over 4 years. I'm just beginning my second term. So I think I was on your show twice. Once with an aide to Jane Parker when we were discussing development out in Fort Ord, and then another time with a council member from PG. He had his own show on there as well.
Oh, yes.
The
mayor?
No, I don't think he was the mayor at the time.
I know who. The gentleman
Miller.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. Now, one of the little things, even though I put that little carpet there, if you don't bang that table, we're in good shape. But that's okay. It's all right. Just as long as I'm not doing it, we're good.
Okay.
All right. So you've been on the council a little over 4 years. Are you up for re-election? That's every 4 years you have to do that, right?
Right. So I'm not up this election cycle. So I have another 3 years to go.
Oh no. Oh, okay. So you ran and you won the re-election.
Yes, last November.
Okay. So are you in your fifth year, or how's that work?
Yes. I'm in my fifth year.
Okay. There we go. Trying to help you out.
A little, just over a fifth year. So yeah, it's
all right.
It's been a learning experience, and it's been very satisfying. I've enjoyed it.
You know, I've noticed that there are some elections where there's in the supervisor race, there's two supervisors that were running unopposed, and that I don't know if that's rare or what, aren't there not enough people out there wanting to be somewhere? How did you get started? You were telling me something about Rich Glenn, and you got onto a group or something. How'd that work? How did that happen?
Oh yeah, way back when. It must have been the early 2000s. I went in about a notice I was posted in a local paper and asked a question. Rich Glenn was working for the city at the time, and he was impressed that I came in asking questions, and he said, "Hey, there's a community group that's actually doing the studying plans for East Seaside or Seaside East. So would you be interested in joining it? They need another member." And I said, "Certainly." So that was my first experience with being part of a committee that was looking into development in Seaside, and that was many years ago.
Where is Seaside East, if I may?
It's east of General Jim Moore, so it's a narrow band because it's bounded by the BLM. Even though our Seaside's property line or jurisdiction goes quite a ways into BLM.
What does BLM stand for?
The Bureau of Land Management.
Bureau of Land. That's a federal thing. Is that correct?
Yes, and hopefully it will become open as a national monument, but it's called the impact zone, so it's still not clean enough to be available for people to hike in.
Oh, when you say impact zone, does that mean that if you touch something that you shouldn't be touching, you're going to be impacted by something? Is that what that means?
That could be, yes. That's where they launched a lot of practice rounds into the former Fort Ord.
So as you're going along General Jim Moore Road there, let's say, let's just roughly say from Canyon Del Rey up to kind of the start of what I'd call Fort Ord, I guess, all on the right-hand side there's all this land, and I'm sure that everybody drives by there and says, wow, I'd like to live there.
Yes, I agree. It is. It's a beautiful stretch of land. It's the views there, I say, are 360-degree views. You have views of both the peninsula and the bay, and of the former Fort Ord or the National Monument, which is just spectacular. And Toro Mountain. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful places on the peninsula.
So is that what you were representing technically? And is that group still alive?
It's really not. That plan has kind of gone by the wayside, as you can imagine. It's almost 20 years old by now. So even though and there were certain ideas that like California American Water would be putting up large storage tanks up there, things like that. So and that's not happening. As you know, we're doing they're storing the excess water in the Seaside Basin, not in large tanks. So things have changed over time.
Okay. All right. So, but there is if I'm not mistaken, isn't there some kind of a plan that Seaside has for that? That they want to do? They have kind of already drawn out, or not?
Again, that was drawn out, but it's and it's part of the general plan, but it's not up to date. I think our general plan was adopted around 2007, so that needs to be amended and updated. And so right now, what the city has done is has the council elected or voted to hire a design group to run charrettes. So there will be a very publicly run design ideas for Seaside East coming up.
Is that the little thing where over at Oldemeyer and you put little dots on the board and stuff like that? Is that right?
Exactly.
Oh
yes.
yeah,
and then
I look forward to those.
It is fun, and the consultants go back to their office with all their input, make adjustments, come back, and it's a very interactive process, which I think benefits everyone, because it just makes it that much easier than once you have the project and you're ready for approvals. You can say the public was involved and the public knows all about this, and they are usually pretty pleased with the outcome. So and that happened with Campus Town.
There was a meeting a few weeks ago at Oldemeyer from a group partially with the Land Watch, and I think also the Seaside Renewal Group. Is that correct? What do you call that?
Oh, Sustainable Seaside.
Sustainable Seaside.
Yes,
right,
yes.
right. And they'd like to see it all open there and have people camping out there with tents, I think, right?
I don't. I've heard parts of that. I was not actually at that meeting. I believe that meeting was kind of to introduce the idea to the community.
Okay.
And
then you didn't hear my great speech then. You missed that.
No, so I'm sorry, but you can repeat it here
now if you want. You can't do something as perfect as that was again.
Oh, okay.
But I got just a hypothetical question. All right.
Yeah.
Say for instance that land there was available, and let's say there was some ideas of building homes up there.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I think Land Watch was saying, that one of their things was they'd rather see more condensed building. In other words, more close together.
Yes.
But I think there's a lot of people that live that don't want that. They'd like to have a little bit of breathing room.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a little something. But my thought, if you were to build these, I suppose they'd be the top of the line homes. Probably more upscale than the Highlands. Probably $1 million plus homes. I guess the Highland ones are $1 million now. They didn't start that way, but that's how things. But if let's say there were $2 million homes up there, would that allow the people that are in, say, the $1 million homes now to move on up, as they say on the Jeffersons, and the people in the $500,000 homes move up to the other people that they left, and the lower ones move up also, leaving room for the real low ones for people that are trying to get into the housing market. Do you understand what I was saying? I do. It doesn't work that way, huh?
Well, on a very small scale.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm a firm believer in high density housing wherever possible. So the idea of taking infill properties, like we just approved the Ascent project on Broadway, which is quite a few houses on very few acres. So that kind of development obviously provides the most housing per acre and the most opportunity for people generally. But it also what it really does is it lowers the cost of the city of maintaining infrastructure. So for every door front that you have per block, it's that many more people for a road that needs to be maintained, and sewer lines that need to be maintained, and water lines that need to be maintained. When you spread out the houses over large areas, it becomes very expensive for the city to keep that road going for very few houses. So it's kind of high density housing benefits both the community and the city as far as efficiencies go.
Now, I'm assuming that works okay for those people that get into that are getting into the housing market.
Yeah,
That might not be there. So I don't think it's going to work for somebody who's already in the housing market and wants to move up, to the other side. I think they want to be able to open their arms out and not have to be knocking on their neighbor's door necessarily. But and Seaside's, we have some limited space here. I guess there is some space. It's a tough thing sometimes to try to figure out.
I agree. I think Seaside Resort Development has plans for more of like the properties you described, the single housing units on larger pieces of property with lots of room to stretch out, and a golf course at your back door. Unfortunately, that hasn't really materialized over time. I'm not sure why, but there are opportunities for that. But right now, I think what we really need to do is try and produce housing as quickly as possible to relieve the pressure on families right now that are having a very hard time finding housing.
Yeah. I just lost my train of thought. Oh, when I was growing up, I grew up from San Francisco and stuff, and the deal was this, and I don't know if we still have that, if that's kind of the thing. But usually, let's say you get married at the age of 20, all right? Usually what happens there, you go out and you rent an apartment for a while. And you work to save up money for a down payment. Maybe you're there in the apartment for 2 or 3 years. You said, okay, this is time for us to have our family, and we've saved much, and then you go out and you buy your house. Is that still in the works these days, or is it almost impossible? How's that come out?
I have to admit, I'm not an economist on this, so a lot of this is anecdotal. But what I've found, especially in a hot housing market, which California has been for the most part, it's sometimes, so even saving, it's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up with the rates, the rate that the housing prices are going up. So even if you save, a few percent, 6-7% a year, and it turns out housing prices are going up by that much, you're never catching up and getting that down payment you need. So it is actually quite difficult for a lot of people.
Well, we had a thing, growing up in San Francisco again. What we had to our avail, I guess, was next door was Daly City, which had a lot of apartments and also low cost housing at that time. In fact, who's that? Pete Seeger did that song, Little Houses.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you know what that was about, the houses in Daly City. Did you know that?
I didn't, but I can see why.
That's where it was, ticky-tacky or whatever.
Yes.
But they're still there. They're still standing there. And they're probably a lot more money. But so we had that option. In here, we are kind of constrained by a few factors. One, the big one is water.
Yes,
that's a big one, and I have a funny feeling that people who voted against the dam many years ago in the Carmel River probably say, why didn't we do something? Why didn't we vote for that? That would have probably helped out quite a bit. And so water is because it also stifles businesses. You want to open up a business that needs water, what do you do?
I don't know. I know all about that. My business is landscape contracting, so I'm very aware of all the issues with water and the idea of it's changing all of our habits and such. The good news is, as far as water goes, that the Monterey One water is pretty much online right now. I know that I think at least for a couple days they were up to 4 million gallons a day is what they were producing, which is
I clue me in on that. I didn't.
Yes.
Is there a desal plant somewhere I don't know about?
no, it's the recycled water plant.
Oh, it's a recycled water plant.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and they cranked it up to I think pretty much full capacity to see how it worked, and it worked.
Now this isn't for drinking though, is it?
It is. It's
Really?
it's considered potable quality water, but right now the
You said portable or potable?
I said potable, but potable is how some
Oh, okay.
people
Well, I thought when it said potable, I thought that meant it's for the toilet pot. No, that's not true.
No. Potable is drinking water, and it's even though it is at that quality, I believe the state requires that it is injected into groundwater, that it doesn't go straight from the recycling to the tap. It goes through the seaside basin, and the idea is it will percolate, I believe, for 6 months before it is withdrawn from the basin by Cal-Am's pumps.
In other words, what you're saying is they clean this water and then they got to put it back in some dirt.
Yep, they put it in the ground to because the ground is actually a really
Who thought
good
of that
filter.
idea?
And it actually adds minerals. It adds
This
flavors.
is-
Yeah,
this is-
yeah.
I learned that a long time ago about San Francisco's water supply comes from most of it from Hetch Hetchy
Yes.
up in Yosemite,
That's good
and
water,
it
yeah.
comes down the river. It stops somewhere in kind of Fremont a little bit. Then it comes across and it fills up the Crystal Springs Reservoir. And the thing is that apparently it picks up minerals along the way.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yes.
And San Francisco water is one of the best waters around. At least it was when I was there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
So does
that-
this end our problem with water?
Um,
No.
It's part of the solution.
Okay.
Yes. So aquifer storage and recovery is also working right now, but in dry years, like so far we've had a dry year, not that much water gets to be it gets to be stored for recovery. And then the third leg of the stool, as they say, was supposed to be the desalination plant, which is running into a lot of problems right now and a lot of resistance. So
Where's the resistance, if I may?
a lot of resistance actually comes from Marina, because the town of Marina is would likely be the most impacted by that plant in numerous ways. When the plant, the wells are in the basin. The idea is desalination. Typically, one imagines they're desalting ocean water, but in this case, it's a mix of ocean water and Salinas Valley fresh water, so it's brackish water.
And where the plans for this desal would be located in Marina then? Or-
Exactly. And even though it's supplying the peninsula, it'd be located in Marina. And Marina already has two major industrial. They have the landfill, which the whole peninsula uses, and they have the sewer treatment plant, which the whole peninsula uses. And and Marina does too. But then to have a industrial desalination plant also located there, it's just, that's kind of a social justice issue. I mean, people have suggested, well, if the peninsula needs a desal plant, why don't they put it on the peninsula?
Okay.
It's kind of one of them.
Now, Marina, they have their own water. Is that right? They're pretty okay with water.
They are using groundwater, and all groundwater, especially in our area, is under threat. It's being depleted. So they have their own water. The Marina Coast Water District is their own water supplier, but they are pumping water from the mid and deep aquifers, and no one really knows how much water is in the deep aquifer.
Oh, they have to go real deep to find out, I guess.
Well, yeah, there's all that new agriculture out by the landfill that's in the deep aquifers using thousands of acre feet.
So this water one water, whatever that is, they actually, is that helping the farming industry a little bit? In some way, expects no.
Not the last project, not the recycled water project. They have been helping the farmers for quite a while now for taking water, recycling it, and making it to the quality for use in agriculture, which is at the same standard as using it for potable, for for drinking water. So no, we've added a large osmosis plant and filtration system, which really cleans up the water nicely.
Okay. We were talking earlier before we started the program about Richard Glenn, who used to work for the city, and he's been having this thought for a long time. In fact, he's presented his case a few times regarding the I think it's the Pablo water thing. Do you know about that?
I remember him describing that to me a long time ago, and I was very, very intrigued by it. So he was, I believe, he was referring to water rights from way back when.
Way back when, before you and I were born.
Yes, a few generations ago.
Yes,
but yes, how it was, I believe it was Spanish land grants.
Yeah,
and
he was pretty serious about that too. By the way,
I know he was. And it's with water, the claims that are made over water are, one can be more outrageous than the next. You know what I mean? So it's like, at what point do you draw the line? The idea that that we can't import any water from the Salinas Valley when the Salinas Valley has, rights to well over 130,000 acre feet of water, which they only use 80,000 acre feet of. The fact that there's a law that prevents us from importing it is, to me, it's pretty outrageous when we could actually import some of that water and pay. Obviously, the peninsula is ready to pay a great deal for water and help them mitigate other water issues such as groundwater.
What is it? Am I saying it right? Water One? No.
Yeah, Monterey One Water.
One
Yes.
Water. Okay,
Yes.
One Water. Is what they're doing now? Is that helping yet for Seaside's demand for water, or going to be helping?
That's a great question. The city, and I have to give a great shout out to the city staff and I believe Mayor Oglesby worked on it for quite a bit. But what we've done is we're doing a kind of a swap of water that's the plan, is that we're going to use more recycled water from that plant, from Monterey One, to, say, for example, water our golf course, the city golf course. And then since we're no longer using potable water to water the golf course, we can then use the potable water for development. So I think...
Wait a minute. You lost me on that one. Did you say... that we wouldn't be using the potable water, but we're going to use this other potable water? Is that what you're saying?
So
go ahead.
So right now the golf course uses almost 500 acre feet a year of potable water. It's a seaside basin well.
Okay.
And the idea is that we start using the recycled water that Monterey One Water is producing on the golf course.
Okay.
So that would free up that at least a little over 400 acre feet. Why it's not an acre foot per acre foot is complicated, but a little over 400 acre feet of potable water that was being used for the golf course that we could now use for development.
Okay.
And so yes, indirectly, the Monterey One Water project is already helping Seaside. And there could be more water to come, especially if the expansion is pursued.
I mean, is that also, is this water situation slowing down some potential development on Broadway? I understand that, for example, the lot across the street that was a used car lot, and it's vacant there now. It's for lease. But there was a possibility of some big development there, but they were waiting for water. In my understanding,
I'm not familiar with the project you're talking about, but certainly water could be a restricting factor, but it's not always a restricting factor because we have areas that have, for example, the Seaside around the golf course that has had water available to it for over a decade, and it has not actually started major construction. So while water is certainly a factor, it is not always the limiting factor.
Okay, not always.
Yes.
Not always. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Now, let's go back to you. I don't know where you from originally. I usually start off that way.
Oh, that's all right. I am from Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara.
Yes, it's obviously a beautiful town, and I've lived up and down the coast of California all my life, from Los Angeles to Berkeley.
Hitchhiking?
No, usually a lot of times riding my motorcycle.
Right. Oh, do you have a motorcycle?
I do, but it's not running right now.
Oh,
so, yeah.
what kind?
It's a Kawasaki Concord. It's a lot of fun. I've done a lot of great road trips, Colorado, Canada, cross country, a lot of fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you married?
No, I'm divorced.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's okay.
That's all right. No, it's
You could say not currently.
not currently. There you go. There you go.
Rather
No,
than-
I'm happily in a long-term relationship.
Okay. No.
Yes.
Any kids?
Nope. No kids.
No kids.
No kids.
All right. Yeah. Okay. You could adopt me if you want to do that.
Well,
There you go.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Are you part of the foster care system? 'Cause-
I could be.
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I like foster freezes, you know.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
And we actually in San Francisco, I might have been in some other places. We had something called Foster's Restaurants. They were like a cafeteria. You walk in, you get a tray, and you go down and you pick something out over the counter type of thing, or whatever they call that. You know. Anyway, it's called Foster's. I always said
Okay.
I was a Foster's kid, but. All right. So anyway, let's do this. We're going to take a small, quick break.
Okay.
And we will. Let me see. Where did I put that? I meant to put that somewhere. And it's already there. Good. Okay. We're going to let that happen. So I'm going to take this out of the picture. Take me out of the picture. It's complicated because I'm all by myself here. So I'm out, and I will start this like so.
KMBY.
Hi, Jim Vossen here for the Seaside Chamber of Commerce. If you're looking for a great place to eat in Seaside, like the Googie Grill on Del Monte near Canyon Del Rey, or the Wakatobi Japanese Grill at 1130 Fremont Boulevard, check out SeasideEatAndStay.com. If you're looking for a great place to stay in Seaside, like the Econo Lodge Bay Breeze Inn at 2049 Fremont Boulevard, or the Big Embassy Suites at the corner of Canyon Del Rey and Del Monte, check out SeasideEatAndStay.com. If you're looking for a new or used car, check out SeasideAutoDealers.com, where you'll find BMW of Monterey, Victory Toyota, Lexus Monterey Peninsula, and more. Check out SeasideAutoDealers.com. For more great information about Seaside, check out SeasideCalifornia.us. That's SeasideCalifornia.us. All of this and more brought to you by the Seaside Chamber of Commerce. Not a member? Join today. Call 394-6501.
You're listening to KMBY.
A little technicality the way we do these things. All right. We are talking to my guest today, if I may, Seaside City Council member Jason Campbell. Any relationship to the soup company at all?
No, not that I know of. I haven't been getting any royalty checks or anything.
No,
from
you
them,
haven't. Do you have a favorite Campbell soup by any chance?
I actually used to. It's been a while, but tomato soup and grilled cheese. That's
Oh,
so good.
that's
Yes,
it. Yeah,
yes,
that's great. No, sometimes you can boil up some noodles and throw the noodles in there with the tomato soup. Yeah,
Nice.
they touched on a winner with that soup. I got to tell you, they did do that. Did you grow up also with Swanson TV dinners when they were in the aluminum pan?
occasionally, especially when my parents would be going out for a show. They'd leave me at home with a TV dinner.
Yeah, don't put those in the microwave oven. Okay?
That was pre-microwave.
We're like, all right.
Yeah.
So let's see. So you were born in Santa Barbara.
Yes.
And you kind of traveled around a little bit.
Yes.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to high school in San Ynez Valley, and I've been enrolled in various colleges throughout California.
In various?
Various, yes.
They wouldn't let you stay very long in one, or what? How'd that work out?
I moved around a lot. Yeah, I've junior college in the LA area, and then UC Santa Cruz, UC Berkeley. So
Maybe that's what affected the marriage. I know.
No, that was all pre-marriage. But
that was all pre-marriage. Okay.
But I probably didn't learn enough. Was my
So how far did you go in your on your motorcycle? How far away?
I've been as far away as Michigan.
Michigan.
Yes.
Okay.
But I've ridden up to Canada, Banff, Canada, beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's a little rainy, but
there's a gentleman. I don't know if he was mayor of Capitola. They alternate on there. Council member Michael Termini. You know that name at all?
It sounds familiar, but
and I say he owns an electrical company.
Okay.
He's in the electrical business, and he has a Harley, and he and his girlfriend, maybe wife now, I don't know. They would travel all over to New York, like you, Canada, and so on. They would do that.
It's great fun. It's really a lot of fun. I've been up and down like Highway 1 between Morro Bay and here just
now. Would you
numerous times.
Would you camp out while you're riding the bike?
Sometimes, yeah. It's a big motorcycle. It can handle a lot of luggage.
Okay, so you have like a tent or something?
Yes, tents, sleeping bags.
Would you ever stay in a motel though?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Crossing the Midwest when those thunderstorms come through.
You carry
tornadoes.
an ATM card, or did they have them then? Wait a minute, how long ago was that?
No, they had them. Yes. I was well into adulthood when I was doing my motorcycle trips.
I can remember, when computers first came out, and I kind of, why would I want that and all that, and then, with the internet and all that, and now it's like you can't live without it.
I know.
You have to have it. What would I if I didn't have that?
I remember when my first acquaintance got internet connection. I'm like, what do you need that for? What do you use it? And he said, you can check the weather.
Was that a dial-up?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But it's like, well, can't you?
It's amazing how far we've come along. Let's just say in the last 150 years, right? The motor vehicle, the airplane, to the moon, and all that, all in this time.
Yeah, it is very amazing.
And things are either progressing. Unfortunately, we're I guess stuck with this this virus going around.
Yes.
What's with the city? You said something about they're going to vote on doing something with the city of Seaside.
Yes. Yesterday the city manager declared a local emergency. He put together a proclamation, which the city manager can do. And then at our next council meeting, we will vote to affirm it, basically. And it's basically to start, for one, show that we're taking this very seriously, as everyone should. And two, we're going to establish things. We're letting committees and commissions go that don't need to meet. We are trying, enacting the social distancing rules, which you've probably heard of, where ideally you want to stay 6 feet away from other people, just so you don't get.
It's funny. Yesterday I had to go to my what do you call my face skin doctor, the whatever they call those things. Anyway, and
dermatologist.
Dermatologist. That's the word. Yeah. And they had a notice on the counter, and it said the notice said basically, please do not lean on the counter or set anything on it. And my first thing I said to the lady, I said, "Is this counter not too sturdy? I think it's going somewhere, And she said, "Oh no, that's because of the virus." And you don't think of that, but
right.
now you do. I'm in fact I'm working on a new music video. You've heard of the twist?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to come up with the elbow dance. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Do the
like
elbow. Yeah.
That's a good idea. So the city council meeting, just to stick with the city, this Thursday we have city council meetings on the first and third Thursdays of the month, and this coming Thursday is our second council meeting of the month, and we are going to actually have it at the Oldemeyer Center, not in City Hall, not in the chambers, because the Oldemeyer Center, the auditorium there, is much larger, and we can spread out more.
So you're going to put the chairs like 10 feet apart?
I'm not sure exactly how that goes, but something like that. Yeah, we'll have room to spread out because, as you know, the idea is right now containing the virus seems pretty remote. It's out there, so the idea is to slow down the spread of the virus. Even though just as many people might end up getting it, if we don't If a lot of people get it at once, it's going to impact our healthcare system, and the healthcare system will not be able to keep up. And that is what will really drive up mortality rates. So we really want to try and slow down the spread, so it impacts. We can slow down the response, so we can handle the response a little more easy.
Now, just in case, would the mayor have had any power to declare that immediately rather than wait till a council meeting? Could he have done that, or did he have that power?
Well, the city manager can.
Could do that. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, the city manager can and did.
Oh,
because it's instantaneous. But
okay.
but then it comes to, and that's per ordinance. But then it comes to the council to confirm it. But but yeah, he's in an emergency situation. You know, he's the one with his finger on the controls
button,
and the
control.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's the chain of the ladder chain, you might say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So now you went to various colleges all over the place, and now that is interesting. That shouldn't be ringing like that. I see. I got it. I understand what happened now. It's called one of those scam calls.
That
one shouldn't ring. I see that on my.
I get a lot of those.
Oh, I bet you. Well, don't you want to shoot some of those people?
But a lot of them are computer generated, so yeah, it's really hard to.
Oh, now the latest one. I don't know if you've heard one of these ones. They'll come on with a nice sounding voice and it says, "Oh, how are you today?" You know, and I'll say immediately, "Terrible," and then they'll go on this, "Oh, good," and then they start doing their little story. You know.
Yeah, it's amazing, those computer responses, how they are. If you say hello, they say hi back. How are you? And then you say something, and yes, it just goes into a artificial intelligence.
Well, I like the ones where, let's say I'm up on a stepladder somewhere, and I hear my phone ringing, and you want to respond. You want to at least come down and look and see who is that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then that's when I get really mad. But all right, so you traveled all over the place.
Yes.
Now, but you're in a business now. You do landscaping.
Yes.
Which is anywhere from what to what?
Generally, I do custom residential installations.
Ooh.
So I pretty much do not do maintenance. I don't own a lawnmower. Not that there are that many lawns anyway.
Yeah.
I do pretty much just installation.
Can you still buy a mechanical lawnmower? Are those still around? Remember those?
Oh yeah, the last one I had, and when I had a lawn at my house, was mechanical. Yeah, and they work. They're great exercise, and they work well as long as you can stay on top of it and mow it at least once a week. Once the grass gets too tall, it gets a little difficult.
Is it? By the way, is it better to mow it when everything's dry or when it's damp?
Generally, for the equipment, it's better if it's dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you do custom things. That's why you knew where I have my PVC, the little screw-in things. It's called a what?
Oh, an escutcheon. Yes.
An escutcheon.
Yes. That's what
an escutcheon.
Yes, you've done a great job here putting together this lighting system and creating something that works. I'm impressed. This looks really good. I
actually enjoy doing that. You enjoy what you do?
Oh yes, and it's always something different.
Isn't there sometimes you say, I don't want to dig that hole?
You know what? There's something I don't know, zen-like. If there's a big pile of dirt and I can just throw it in a wheelbarrow and move it, it can be very relaxing. You kind of put everything else out of your mind. So no, I don't mind digging holes. I don't do it that often anymore. But but it could be doing anything from building fences and decks to drainage systems and lighting systems. So as a landscape contractor, I get to do a lot of different things, which keeps it very interesting.
When you came in, I showed you my little weeds outside that I get all the time.
Yes.
I've actually had in a big jug, I don't know, 2-gallon thing or 1 gallon or whatever, a thing with a little spray. I've never used it. It's supposed to kill weeds. So is that legal, that kind of stuff, I guess?
For residential use, yeah. Oh. For you to use, yes.
Oh.
Yes, absolutely. You can go
Does it work?
Home Depot. Roundup, glyphosate.
I don't know what it is. Okay, yeah.
Is if you're going to use a pesticide and herbicide, that's probably what I would recommend using is the glyphosate.
But I hear all these advertisements on TV now. I could be dying.
You could be. So
thanks.
That's why I said if you're going to use it.
But commercially, you don't do that.
No, you can use it commercially. You just need to be a certified.
Is there other stuff?
Applicator.
Is there other stuff that works and just as well or not?
There's other stuff, but it's known to be far more. I mean, not all of it, but a lot of it's far more poisonous and dangerous.
Okay.
So there's some herbicides that target broadleaves specifically, and as opposed to Roundup, pretty much targets anything that's green, and it's argued by the pesticide companies that it becomes inert fairly quickly. So it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
You know, I would with any chemical, I would be extra careful. Try not to be in contact with it, and use it as sparingly as possible.
Just use my elbows.
Yeah, you could.
Somewhere there. All right. So how long have you been doing that?
30.
Oh, really?
30 years, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you didn't had a job and you left that and went to do this. You've been doing this professionally, in essence?
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
And like I said,
You have a card?
Not on me, no.
Oh,
in my
never.
trucks, yes.
You must be really busy.
Yeah. I am quite busy. So
Okay, well, no.
but it's also very hard. It's the city work is fairly time consuming as well. So trying to balance both has been a challenge. But
I can imagine. Yeah, it's all right. So anyway, you do that. What's the biggest job you've done with that?
I've just larger as my own working for myself. I mean, I've worked for other companies.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where I started.
You have.
So I used to do large commercial jobs and large projects down in Los Angeles when I lived down there, and some very high end things. But swimming pools, water features, things like that. But up here, it's been estates like in Pebble Beach. I've done some pretty large jobs.
Did they call you back?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yes.
For good reason, not for bad reason.
Oh yes, for good reason. Yes, it's like I said, I don't do maintenance, and oftentimes it's problematic because they really wish I did maintenance. And on
so you're in your fifth year sitting on the city council. When you first got on, if I'm not mistaken, did you feel kind of like you were the lone person because you were kind of more of that environmental kind of person? You were the keep Fort Ord wild group type of thing. I know that you and I we had little tassels out on the street when you had signed and such. But
yes,
all in all, things work out, and maybe that project wasn't a right project. And I hope that somewhere along the way we're going to be able to find a middle ground with these organizations and so on. How do you feel?
I hope so too. I mean, I associate. I know the various groups. Keep Fort Ord, Land Watch. They're friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But do I agree with them all the time? Absolutely not. I mean, if it's, Keep Fort Ord Wild, it's in the name. They're pretty much opposed to any development in the former Fort Ord. I am not. Mm-hmm. Land Watch, I agree with so many of their principles and policies of, again, high density housing, keeping an eye on our water supplies. But like somewhere we differ, if we can go back to Seaside East, if we may, we talked about the views. We talked about the need for housing, and you and I are going to differ on this as well. I actually envision more of if we develop that for housing, I envision more high density housing up there. Not single family, quarter acre lots. I'd rather see more people be able to enjoy those views.
First of all, a quarter acre sounds pretty big to me around here.
Yes,
around here. Hello.
Yeah.
No, I'm just where I grew up in the Avenues, we had even though we had a house, for some reason I'm trying to think why it was done that way. We were the second house from the corner, and we were attached to each other.
Right.
And then we had walkways between our house and the third house, we had walkways to our backyard, and then that house was attached to the other house and walkways between there. I'm hoping for something a little better than that, somewhere. What's up in, like, at the Highlands? What are those homes sitting on?
I'm not sure. They're a little more spaced out, but
they're not a quarter acre for each place, are they?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
but
All right.
a quarter acre. I mean, the larger lots down here, in the lower seaside and probably upper seaside are getting close to a quarter acre, if not quarter. Yeah, I think they're really close to quarter acre. But yeah, there's some houses. I'm trying to think of I think it was a development plan for Monterey Downs that the houses were so close together you had to start asking whether there was good enough fire access between the houses. They were really maximizing the footprint of the building on the property, and the setbacks from the property line were getting so close that, especially if you put a fence in between the two houses, did they have room to get all their equipment down between the fences and the buildings? There's something to be said about having houses packed in too close together. You might as well just make them duplex, multi-unit houses if they're that close together.
Well, but but you agree with me on that, at least, rather than, you don't want a house attached to it. Of course, there's places where maybe some condominiums, I guess, could be built. Mm-hmm. Is that,
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know.
It could be multi-story up in Seaside East, in my opinion, because it has great views, but it doesn't block many people's views.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the way I see it. It's like almost stadium seating or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let me ask you this. So you've been on the council. This is your 5th year, and you're a member of how many different, like, subcommittees are you?
Oh, great question. I do sit on the board for the Monterey One Water, so that's why I know about
that one, yes.
The recycled water, and I sit on the board for the Mosquito Abatement District.
Do we have mosquitoes here? Where are they? I don't see them.
Yeah, we try. Well, mosquito abatement constantly monitors and abates mosquitoes.
Oh, okay.
And
where do they hang out? Do they?
Seaside, they would. They could hang out both at our lakes, Roberts Lake and Laguna Grande.
Oh, okay.
And
all
also
right. Yeah,
there's,
that makes sense.
and also very close is Frog Pond.
Oh, do we have a frog pond?
That
I
is.
mean, in the one in Delray Oaks.
Delray Oaks, yes, but
Okay.
that's very close too. So, and then storm drains need to be monitored, things like that. Anywhere you get puddling water, you can have mosquitoes. So, not that we have too many swimming pools in Seaside, or too many, especially abandoned swimming pools, things like that could be bad. And I also sit on the Waste Management District. So that's been very interesting. That's been a good board.
Is that the one? By the way, you mentioned to me the other day. That's up where the garbage is and such, right?
Yes.
The dumps, right?
Yes.
So, they just happened to call me, by the way, on Friday. They have some new pamphlets out about environment stuff, about recycling.
Yes, great.
And they want to know if they could bring a stack over, and they do that. And I said, sure. And then I asked them that question that you had brought up to me. I said, by the way, are you guys a member of the Carmel Chamber of Commerce? And he had to turn around and said, Elaine, are we a member of the Carmel Chamber of Commerce? And she said, yes. And I said, and can you tell me why? And he said, can you tell us why? And she says, well, because they're in our district. And I said, well, I'm the Seaside Chamber.
Very good.
And he said, oh, yeah. Well, I said, when you bring those by, I'll be giving you an application.
I'm perfect.
And it might be a nice guy. I'll get you on television, too, at the same time. So, anyway,
Great.
so thank you for that, Lee.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was good shot.
Yeah.
The other part that you told me I won't discuss right now. We'll figure that out somehow. All right. So anyway, So what's the best part you've liked about being on the council?
Oh, wow, there's so much.
Other than sitting next to Dave Pacheco.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave. He's oh boy, is that interesting to sit next to him. He's actually become a good friend. So I enjoy his company. So seriously, I do enjoy that. Trying to basically influencing the decisions and trying to be sure that the city is covered. It's I got to tell you, it's nerve-wracking to do like campus town. beyond a multi-million-dollar project.
You reminded me, by the way, which I didn't really talk about, Campus Town.
Yeah.
All right, so Campus Town has the green light. Is that correct?
Yes.
And they're going to do groundbreaking when?
There's still a couple more steps. They need the final map, which I think which I think hopefully will be done in a year. And
in a year?
Yes, or actually, it could be a little less.
So the bottom line is, Campus Town encompasses how many acres? Would you say?
I think it's 120.
120 acres.
Something, yes.
And how many homes are going to be in there within that?
Almost 1,500.
Almost 1,500. And there's some businesses too. Is that right?
Yes, I think it's 150,000 square feet of.
And then some open land somewhere.
And a hotel. I mean,
open land. Okay.
A little, yeah. I mean, for me, I'd consider a little bit of open land, but yes, some open land.
These homes, are these individual houses? They're condos. What are they?
Mixed. It's going to be a mix. I think there are going to be there will be some individual units, but I think mostly it's going to be townhomes or attached multi-units. Yes.
Yeah, I hope they have a little elbow room for considering elbow. I'm sorry.
That's I know what you mean, but it is surrounded by. I mean, they've done some really nice things. They have some nice promenades or walkways.
No, I've seen the. It looks good.
Yeah. So
are you and I going to be able? I guess, am I going to be able to see it in my time? You're a lot younger than I am. You think they'll have something up in 2 years?
Yes, fingers crossed. Yes, they will be majorly grading and preparing and putting all the infrastructure and the plumbing and the utilities and things. Is
there another project like that in the works that you know of offhand?
No, I mean we are in an exclusive negotiation. I believe we're still in it with the project called Main Gate, which is at the where Light Fighter Drive actually. Hits Highway 1.
Well, okay. Let me ask you there. So right there, the main gate. You come up to the signal. You turn left, and right there to the left is supposed to be a big shopping center.
Right.
Is that still in the? Where's that at?
Well, that is the project, and that's kind of the rub there, as you'd say. Is again, this was done in 2010 or so, or no, even before that. Excuse me, 2008. And times have changed. As we know, we were just talking about the internet earlier. That a lot of people do their shopping online. So having just a massive shopping area is not, from what I'm told, not very marketable these days. So
it's tough out there. Some seem to be able to make it. I guess some of those, I don't know, like let's say Target and Walmart that do online stuff too.
Right.
But, in my world here, this equipment that I have, a lot of it, I'm sorry, but I can't really get here. Well, a couple of things from Best Buy, that's fine. But most of it, like Amazon. It's hard to compete with Amazon.
Yeah.
It's hard. And they gave me an account. So... Hello,
I agree, but
yeah.
That's so sometimes when I want something, I like to personally, a lot of times I like to be able to say, okay, I'm going to get it now. Just go to the store and buy it, and two, actually have it in my hand and see it and feel it first. That's something I like. I prefer to do.
I agree with that. I guess maybe it's because of some things. I mean. I go to Home Depot, of course, for shelving and wood and stuff like that. But if I wanted an electronic doorbell, for some reason, I'm probably going to go to Amazon. It's probably going to be cheaper. Yeah. They're going to do free delivery, and so there's some things. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, the delivery is amazing. That things can get delivered from overseas for less than you can manufacture it here in the US.
Now a lot of these cables that I have here that I get from Amazon, they actually are printed on there. Amazon.
Really?
They
Amazon?
are. They are actually. They have a whole bunch of stuff, and there's some things that I just can't get locally. There are some of these little gadgets to do what I'm doing here. You can't buy it locally. So. It's an interesting world, and they have to learn how to work with both, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
So you never order anything online ever?
Occasionally, yes.
Okay.
But not a lot. Occasionally, but it's the same kind of the same thing. That's in my business. Sometimes I'm looking for technically a doohickey, and I don't know the actual name of it, and I search for it online, and can't find it because I don't know exactly what it is, and I've been able to go into the store and describe what it is I'm looking for, and have the person behind the counter say, "Oh, one of these," and know exactly what it is. So there's something to be said for that in-person interaction, especially when you have questions.
Yeah. Oh, one more part about up at that gate there. And what's it called? Firelighter? What's that street?
Light Fighter.
Light Fighter. I get that mixed up. You got to do something with that name, okay? Is that named after somebody that gave up for a hero or something, or what?
Light Fighter is a type of soldier, basically. And it's probably a lot of soldiers trained in the former Fort Ord were considered light fighters.
I guess so.
And I think it has a nice historic name to it.
So when you get off the freeway there, I understand to the right was going to be a place where there was going to be these exotic cars. Is that still in the works or what?
I honestly haven't heard anything about that in a while.
So those are being ordered through Amazon, I guess. Now. Hey, so I want to. We're coming up towards the end. You want to get? Is there something you want to get out that I haven't asked you about?
I know we've covered a lot. I just, of course, now I'm like everyone else. I'm very concerned about the virus.
Yes.
I kind of shake my head at all the people who are going out and buying cases of toilet paper because I have no idea where that comes from. But
I'm wondering if there going to be any left for me. What the heck?
I know. That's why people are worried that the toilet paper supply is going to run out. I'm not sure. But,
some people don't fully understand the mask thing. I'm gonna get some people in to talk about that because there's a yes and no about the mask as to if it protects you or protect somebody else.
Oh, every time I see somebody wearing a mask, I'm like, thank you, because it's protecting me. Them wearing a mask protects me. But if certainly, I guess if you have if you're ill or have a cold or something, wear a mask.
As long as they don't want to shake your hand.
Correct. Don't shake hands. The social distancing is important. We want to wash our hands as often as possible. And
so was this gentle enough for you today?
Oh, yes.
Get you back in the future. We'll update things. Is that okay?
That would be wonderful. And you've done a great job here in the studio, and it's nice. This public outreach, I think, is very valuable. So thank you, Jim.
Got that. Let me give you one more titling before I go. Jason Campbell, Seaside City Council member. I threw that in there that. I spelled it that way. I don't know what I did. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much.